My name is Wesley Kamzoe. I'm from Malaysia and I'm studying mechanical engineering. I really like science and problem solving. So during A levels, I did 3 sciences, biology, physics, chemistry, and math. And just through that, I knew that I would get into a STEM kind of major. And mechanical engineering seemed very broad and that it would provide me with a lot of, soft skills and also skills that I could use for different jobs and occupations after university. When I was first trying to find a university and a good degree for myself, I didn't know exactly which degree I wanted to do. Like I said, I knew I wanted to do science. So when I first applied to Queen's University, I looked through all of the degree options and mechanical engineering just seemed like the one that fits me best, just based on the modules and all the things that included. A lot of the modules that are covered in mechanical engineering at Queen's cover a very broad range of topics in engineering. So even though the degree itself is just mechanical engineering, we learn a lot of things such as thermodynamics, fluid dynamics, statics, and material science, which can be all applied to different areas of engineering after university. It's a very good foundation for preparing for a master's program afterwards, and doing mechanical engineering allows you to go into different sorts of masters. From my point of view, coming here from Malaysia as an international student, I really enjoyed being able to learn a lot about this new country and culture that I'm in, specifically Belfast, because the environment is very friendly here. There's a lot of different people with different culture. More than that, at Queen's Belfast, specifically the university, there's a lot of people from all over the world, and that allows me to learn more about every race and culture, which felt like a very eye-opening experience to me. After living in London for the past year for placement, I have been able to experience life in Belfast and in London as well. And I would say that a very major difference between these two relatively big cities is that Belfast is a lot more peaceful and there's a lot more time on our hands, whereas London it's what we would imagine a hustling and bustling city to be like. So in my personal perspective, I do enjoy Belfast's lifestyle a lot more. I'm a product safety design engineer at Martin Baker. So my job consists of looking at error reports and things that malfunction in our design, and then trying to fix it, whether by changing the design or changing the manual or instructions or improving the manufacturing process. So there's a large variety of things that could be done to fix a problem. And that is one of the, very exciting parts about my placement job and also engineering in general, because there's a lot of solutions to one problem. I actually found out about Martin Baker at a careers fair at Queen's. It was held during my second year in winter. So when I was walking around the careers fair, I saw a lot of new companies that I've never seen before, especially because coming from an international country, I didn't know many companies that were local to Belfast or England. So the careers fair was a very helpful, starting point to see what sort of companies and placements I would be interested in. I applied for Martin Baker through the ELP program at Queen's, and it was a program, the Engineering Leadership Program, where 8 or more students were selected for this program where we would learn about working skills and how to prepare for placement. When I first did the interview for it, there were a panel of judges from different companies, and Martin Baker was one of them. It was one of the few companies that caught my eye at that time because it was a very interesting concept, ejection seats. And also the interviewer, Mark, who interviewed me for Martin Baker, he was a very nice and approachable person. So I felt like the company had a very good working environment, and I liked the culture and mission of the company as well. The main factor that made me decide to do placement was speaking to a lot of the seniors at Queen's University, and also during the careers fair, I got to speak to a lot of other students that were on placement as well. When I was first thinking about whether I should do placement, it felt a bit hard to decide because I'll lose 1 year of, I guess, studies. I'll be 1 year behind. But I realized that placement provides a lot of experience that would be valuable, more than just the money and things that I would stand to gain from it. So after speaking to other students on placement, I realized that there were a lot of, I guess, soft skills that I could learn that would benefit me later on uni, and also be very good for the resume and CV for applying to more opportunities after coming out of university. My lecturer told me about an app called My Future that was very helpful for applying to placements, because you just had to upload your CV or resume onto it and you could apply to multiple companies and they would email you back or call you if they were interested. So my first few interviews when I was trying to get into a placement were quite tough for me, because they were asking questions that were specific to working life that some of them I felt I wasn't prepared for as a university student, because I knew about the theory and science behind things, but when asked certain engineering questions that were specific to the industry, such as what screws to use for different parts, I actually had no idea. And the best thing that I did when faced with that was to just be honest about what you knew and what you didn't know to the interviewers, because a lot of interviewers are just asking it to gauge what level of, I guess, competence or knowledge you have on a certain subject. So I felt like all of the interviews were very good opportunities to learn from, and a lot of the interviewers from different companies were very friendly and they were nice, and we talked after the interviews as well. Another very important question that they would usually ask at interviews are things related to your university projects and other team-based activity that you did, because most of engineering work consists of team projects, and once you start working at a company for placement or for a job after placement for graduate job, all of them do consist of you working with a team, and they want to ensure that you have this ability to communicate effectively and lead a team. My 3 main tips for securing a placement as a student is, first of all, to just be aware of what you contributed in terms of any extracurricular or projects that you did. So it's very good to note down in your CV what your role in a group was, whether you led the team, whether you were effectively communicating with the rest of your team about a project, whether you were managing the time for the team and setting deadlines, or even for any extracurricular activities that you did. All of that is something that the company wants to hear about, just to know what sort of skills and experience that you have. Secondly, a helpful tip I have for getting a placement is to do some sort of part-time job or volunteer activity. This allows you to gain more experience from a working perspective, instead of just having your student experiences. Last but not least, when applying for placement, it's important to understand that the companies take some time to respond to you. So after an interview, it might be a month or 2 before you hear from them again, or even after sending in your CV, you might not hear from them for an interview opportunity for much longer than you think. So it's best not to stress about it and try to take every interview as an opportunity to learn and try your best.